Welcome back. In the last class, we have learned about issue of shares at par and at premium, and we have discussed a practical case that deals with issue of shares at premium. And with the problems with regard to issue of shares at par, you need not have to worry, because from the beginning itself we have been dealing with the cases of issue of shares at par. Means issuing share at its base value is a case of issue of shares at par. And lastly, we have discussed about the issue of shares at premium. So let us continue with that. Issue of shares at discount. Actually, the shares can be issued in three ways. One is issue of shares at par, and other is issue of shares at premium, and finally issue of shares at discount. I hope you have understand the concept of issue of shares at discount, because it is actually the opposite of issue of shares at premium, and you all know the meaning of discount. That is, offering something for a lesser value is known as a discount. So issue of shares at discount means when the company who intended to raise capital issues their shares at a price less than the nominal value, or in share terms we can say par value. In simple terms we can say, if a share is offered to the public at a less than face value or base value, then the shares are said to be issued at a discount. For example, a share of value rupees 10 issued at rupees 8. So base value is 10 and issued at rupees 8. In this case, the company suffers a loss of 2 per share called discount on issue of shares. So we have mentioned right now, it is a loss for the concern. Even though it is a loss for the concern, why the concern is offering the shares at a discount? If it is a loss issue, then the company need not have to issue the shares at discount. The thing is, in the existing extremely dynamic competitive business environment, there are a lot of companies issuing their shares with different opportunities and offers. So in order to overcome such competitions, or in order to overcome such extreme situations, the company is ready to suffer loss by issuing their shares at a discount, with the view that if the shares are issued at a lower value, it will induce the consumer or the subscriber to buy their shares, and eventually the concern can raise their price, and finally they can earn more profit. With that intention, the company may issue their shares at a discount. Actually, it is a risky factor. And the thing is that, as per the Companies Act section 53, a company shall not issue shares at a discount except in the case of sweat equity shares issued under 57. Any shares issued by the company at a discount price shall be void. That is a new rule as per the Companies Act. So issuing shares at a discount can't be encouraged by all companies. Company can issue their shares at par and at premium, but nowadays they can't issue their shares at discount. But there is an exemption: the company can issue sweat equity shares. We have learned about the concept of sweat equity shares. In that case, discount can be provided. Actually, the concept of sweat equity is providing shares at a lower value to the inner people. Inner people means employee, directors, likewise. So unless for sweat equity shares, no company can't issue shares at a discount. So these are three cases in which a company raised their capital. So let us continue with other theoretical aspects of issue of shares. Treatment of fractional shares. It is another important thing that has to be considered with regard to shares, because until now we have learned about the concept that the company raised capital by issuing such and such type of shares and such number of shares, like that. For example, in the last session we have learned about a case in which 25,000 shares were issued at premium, like that. So if you look closely to the details given, you can see that the number of shares, that is 25,000, or it may be 1000 shares, or it may be 100 shares, or it may be 10 shares. See, if you go through the numbers, you can see that all these numbers are whole numbers. There is no wording like 23 and a half or 23 3 by 4 shares are issued. You haven't seen such a statement in any of their cases during your commerce life. But there are situations in which you might have to deal with such situations. So that is known as fractional shares. Sometimes the company have to deal with 23 and a half shares, number of shares, or the 101 by 2 number of shares. So it's not a whole number, it's in fraction form, and we can't neglect fractional situations. So how we are going to deal with when the number of shares are shown as fractional numbers? So first of all, you need to understand the concept of fractional. I hope you have got the idea about the concept of fractional. Anyway, the fractional share refers to a unit of stock. We have studied about the share and a stock at the beginning of this module, so we are not going further into that. That is less than one full share. That is known as a fraction. Not a full unit of share is known as fraction. Fractional shares generally arises from stock splits, bonus shares, and similar corporate actions. Fractional shares cannot be obtained from the market because usually it will undergo some changes to remove the fractional factor. So in actual market or in an open market, you won't find a fractional share offered by a company. So what are the situations in which a fractional share occur? Usually it will occur during stock split and at the time of issue of bonus shares. So stock split and bonus shares, such situations that leads to the creation of a fractional share. And stock split and bonus shares are offered by the company to the shareholders or the prospective shareholders likewise. Anyway, the concept with regard to stock split will be mentioned right now, but we will first of all deal with bonus shares. We have discussed about the concept of bonus shares. Bonus shares or bonus issue is the concept in which the company provide fully paid shares to the existing shareholders free of charge. Such situation creates fractional shares. So how offering shares to the existing shareholders for free create a situation of fractional shares? Because when the company offers bonus shares, it will announce that whoever holding 3 shares will be offered 1 extra share, like that. So how it leads to a creation of fraction shares means, for example, if a person hold 23 shares and of a certain company, and that particular company is announced that the company going to issue 1 share for every 3 shares held as bonus share. So what was the number of shares held by the person? 23. And company mentioned that whoever holding 3 shares will be given an extra 1 share. So the person who holding 23 shares, how many shares will be in addition he is going to get because of that announcement by the company? So for each 3 shares he will get 1 share extra. So 23 divided by 3, you will get 7.66. That means that particular person will get 7.66 shares in extra for addition as bonus issue or bonus shares. So that leads to creation of fractional shares. See, that is one situation. And we will discuss about the stock split also now. Stock split means sometimes the company divides its existing shares into multiple shares. So why the company have to do like that? The main purpose is to boost the liquidity of the shares. Although the number of shares outstanding increases by a specific multiple, the total amount of share capital remains the same compared to the pre-split amount. That means, listen very carefully, a company trying to raise certain amount. For example, 1 lakh rupees the company want to raise, and it can be raised either any form, that is 1000 shares into 1000 number of shares of rupees 100 each, you will get 1 lakh, or 10,000 shares of rupees 10 each, or 1 lakh shares of rupees 1 each. In all these three cases, the total share capital is 1 lakh. But you can see that in these three situations, the share capital will be 1 lakh, but the splitting is different. In one case, it is 1000 into 100, in the other case, it is 10,000 into 10, in the other case, 1 lakh into 1. The company can choose any one. But in order to create a liquidity, because every company want to raise their liquidity position, as a part of raising the liquidity, the company will split the stock. Split the stock means it will increase the number of shares. Since the example which we have discussed is a simple case of whole number, that concept will not affect. That means the fractional situation will not come. Just understand this example. A person, a shareholder who holds 9 shares, and the company announced that the company is going to offer 3 shares for persons who holding 2 shares. See, it is a bit different from the bonus issue situation. In bonus issue, an additional share is given to a certain person holding certain number of shares. But in case of stock split, whoever having 2 shares will be given 3 shares. See, more will be given to a person. So number of shares is increasing. So the example was a person holding 9 shares, and the company mentioned that it is going to provide 3 shares to whoever holding 2 shares. So how many shares in extra the certain person is going to earn? 9 shares, and for each 2 shares he will get extra 3. So 9 by 2, he will get 4.5 shares in extra. That is 9 plus 4.5, 13.5. See, that is the factor, the fraction is created. So 9 plus 4.5, you will get 13.5. You need not have to worry about this mathematical concept. Just understand that these two situations that creates fractions. And in the examination and in the syllabus point of view, you need not have to worry about how these fractions are created. You will be given a situation where fractions come. So how you are going to deal the fraction? It's very simple. So I am just explaining how the fraction situations come, because we have until now we have learned that 1000 shares are issued for this much amount, 10,000 shares are issued for this much amount, and then how the hell the company is going to issue the shares for fractions. Fraction situation occur during this specific situation, like stocks issuing of shares for bonus or bonus issue and stock splits. So these are the situations in which fractional shares come. So how the company is going to deal with the fraction of shares? When shares are in odd numbers, during that situations only fractions occur. When number of shares held by a person is in odd number, that is the first situation in which fractions occur. For example, if a person hold 9 shares, just the example just I have mentioned in the case of stock split, 9 shares of a certain limited, and the company announced that 3-4-2 stock split. In this case, that particular person will get extra 4.5 shares. It's simple max. This for how we are going to get the total amount of shares. So a person holding 9 shares will get an extra 4.5. That is, in total 13.5 shares will be obtained. And the computation of this 13.5 from 9 is simple max. Think like this. For whoever holding 2 shares will get extra 3. See, it's like this. Whoever holding 2 shares, the company will offer extra 3 shares. So a person holding 9 shares, how many shares he will get extra? Let it be X. So by following basic max, you will get 13.5. So here the situation leads to a fraction of shares. So how we are going to deal with fractional shares? It's very simple. Normally you can't buy half a share in the stock market, because in the market the shares are offered in whole numbers. Most companies tend to round up to the nearest whole number of shares when fractional shares occur. So here the situation is 13.5. How the company is going to deal that? So in the above case, it will be round up to the next full value, that is 14 shares. See, That is how the company going to deal with the fractional shares. The theory which we have mentioned is the situations how the situation that leads to the creation of fractional shares. You need not have to worry about that situation. Just I understand that the under stock split and under the bonus issue and at the time of mergers during situations of merger also the creation of fraction shares occur. So in this situation fraction shares occur. So the company or whoever in charge have to round the fraction to the next nearest whole number. So that is the concept with regard to fractional shares. Next one, who buys fractional shares? In some situations, the fraction shares has to be bought by someone else if it is not converted to the next whole number. So, who are going to buy the fractional shares? Usually, a company can buy the fractional shares for cash from the shareholders. The company appoints a trustee to buy the fractional shares from shareholders, and the trustee will then pay cash for those fractional shares. So that is how the whoever holding the fractional shares are dealt by the particular company. It will be bought by the company itself through a certain person known as trustee. Next one, tax treatment. With regard to shares or reselling the shares, exchanging the shares, in all those situations, the shareholder or the whoever who is dealing with such transactions may earn some sort of profits. In accounting terms, that profit is known as capital gain. For capital gain, whoever who has earned such profits or earned such benefits must pay tax. So that is known as capital gain tax. So how the tax treatment is done in such situations? If fractional shares are sold in the market on your own, sometimes it may be sold in the market. The thing is that the company won't issue fractional shares. It may be exchanged by subscribers or shareholders or whoever having fractional shares. So fractional shares are sold in the market on your own, and these shares are held for less than a year. The shareholder will be subjected to short-term capital gain tax at 15%. If the trustee buy back such shares and pay cash for them, the shareholder is not liable to pay any tax on it. That is the rule with regard to tax treatment on gains through the buying or selling your shares, especially fractional shares. So these are the theoretical aspects with regard to fractional shares. Next one, share capital allotment. We have learned that the company issues shares and there are certain situations. First one is application, and the company collects subscriptions from or applications from potential shareholders or subscribers, and after clear studying or analysis, the proper allotment of shares will be done. That is known as share capital allotment. So let us discuss in detail what are the theoretical aspects with regard to share capital allotment. Application for shares duly filled in are sent to the company or its particular bank appointed by the company, otherwise known as bankers, along with the application money not less than 5% of the face value of the shares. We have mentioned that in order to fulfill the collection of application money, the company must make sure that it has a minimum subscription, that is 5% of the total face value of their shares. And we have learned that if the company fails to collect that minimum value, it has to repay the amounts within the stipulated time. Okay, once the amount has been collected, it will be sent to the respective bankers. The shares are allotted or granted by the board of directors, whose decision is final. A letter of allotment is sent to each applicant to whom shares are allotted, and at the same time the shares cannot be allotted to all the subscribers. Some situation we have to reject some of the application. So for those persons to whom the application was rejected, a letter of regret with a refund of application money is sent to those applicants to whom the shares are not allotted. So this is the activity that actually happens under allotment of shares. And there are certain restrictions on allotment. The Companies Act, that controls all the activities of the companies, insists that the board of directors should send a copy of prospectus or statement in lieu of prospectus to the registrar in order to conduct all these allotment activities. Deposit all the application money received in a scheduled bank. We know that concept. The company will authorize a certain bank to collect all the money. So deposit all the application money received in the scheduled bank, and it should be deposited in the scheduled bank itself. See that the minimum subscription stated in the prospectus has been achieved and application money is received. We have discussed about that. So these are the things that has to be kept in mind by the company at the time of allotment. And in simple terms, allotment means whoever subscribed or applied for shares, the shares of the company will be allotted to those particular or prospective shareholders. Sometimes it may be fully allotted to the shareholders, sometimes it may not be allotted to the shareholders. All the decisions are made by the board of directors, and they all work as per the rules and regulations of the Companies Act. So next one, another important aspect, calls and arrears. In almost all the situations we will come across such adjustments like that. It's actually an adjustment, calls in arrears. Calls in arrears means default in the payment of any of the installments. Any of the installment means any of the payments do not pay. If the prospective shareholder fails to pay a part of allotment, or it may be a part of first call, it may be a part of second call, the default in the payment of any of the calls is known as calls in arrears. So, and it may so happen that some shareholders fail to pay the amount of allotment, or it may be an allotment, or it may be a call due on shares held by them. It will not happen in case of application, because application means the company has, the shareholders must pay the subscription amount in order to get allotted. So because of that, in most cases the subscribers will pay full amount. No default will be made in almost all the cases, and default occurs during the allotment, or in the first call, or in the second call likewise. So the total amount of such unpaid amount on account of one or more installments, it can be occur like that. Sometimes, usually it will be a default in any one of the installments, or it may be in more than one installments. We will deal such situation during discussion of practical case. So the total of such unpaid amounts on account of one or more installments is known as calls and arrears, or we will denote by a simple term, unpaid calls. And such amount shall appear as notes to account in the financial statement. Next one, how you are going to treat a calls and arrears in a problem. It is not compulsory to maintain a separate accounts for calls and arrears. The debit balance in the allotment or call accounts indicates calls in arrears. It is not shown as an asset, but as a deduction from the called up capital in order to arrive at the paid up capital on the liability side of the balance sheet. Remember, the amount of calls in arrears is shown not as a separate item, but it is shown as an item deducted from the capital in order to arrive at the paid up capital. If you deduct the arrears from called up capital, you will get paid up capital. And usually no accounts need not have to be prepared. But in some situations, some companies may prepare accounts. So when a company prepares a calls in arrears account, the journal entry is as follows. It will be calls in arrears account debtor to share allotment, or if it is a default in allotment, it will be to share allotment, or if it is a default in share call, it will be to share call, or if it is a default in any of the calls like first call, second call, third call, likewise to anyway, or whenever there is a default in payment in any of the installments, calls in arrears account debtor to that particular installment, like application, not application, allotment, first call, second call, likewise. So from this theoretical aspect, you should understand that even though calls in arrears is not a big issue, it can be dealt in two ways. One is without opening a separate account, another is you can open a separate account. That is the difference. Anyway, you need to pass the journal entry with regard to calls in arrears. And the narration is being calls in arrears brought into account. So remember, it can be done in two ways. One is by not opening a separate account for calls in arrears. Another is by opening a separate account for calls in arrears. So I hope you have understood all the theoretical aspects which we have discussed today. So go through all these theoretical aspects. We will discuss about some of the practical cases that includes the situations of calls in arrears, and if possible we will deal with some of the cases that includes the fraction of shares. So go through it. If you have any queries, please let me know. We will continue in the next session.